sunset, through heavy burdens, the paths we tread. From the songs we sing to the fears we face, we find our strength in shared embrace. Voices rising, hearts awake, through every moment, the steps we take. Discuss the pain, reflect the fire, transform the dark, lift each heart higher. Courage to converse, a bridge to start, healing the world, one open heart. Every voice, a story told, through the new, through the old. Bound by love, the ties that bind, in every struggle, hope will find. Discuss the pain, reflect the fire, transform the dark, lift each heart higher. Courage to converse, a bridge to start, healing the world, one open heart. One open heart. So speak your truth and light the way. Through darkest nights we'll find the day. Courage to converse until we're free. A better world for you and
Welcome to Courage to Converse, where we discuss tough topics, reflect on personal experiences, and explore paths for growth and understanding. Before we dive in, I want to acknowledge that some conversations may touch on sensitive or challenging issues. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for professional advice or support. If you or someone you know is struggling, resources are available to help. In the U.S., you can call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, or text HOME to 741741 to reach the crisis text line. Remember, our goal here is to spark meaningful conversations while fostering respect, understanding, and personal growth. So let's get started.
All right. Good evening, everybody. And sorry for the big delay between episodes, but today we have special guest Dakota Smiley Sawyer, and we have our co-host JoJo, and I am your host, Joe.
Apologize for being delayed. We've been busy.
We've been very busy,
Very busy.
nonstop.
For the community.
And it is for the community. And actually, since you mentioned it, what have we been up to?
Boom booms, melting people, and
Boom booms and bang bangs?
yeah, boom booms and bang bangs. Moulaja, man, that was pretty.
Yeah, that was awesome.
We helped out with the first responders at the Georgia Technical College, and we did the makeup and all that. So JoJo did some training with people out there too.
JoJo got arrested, y'all.
I did get arrested.
Yeah. It was fun. We did boom booms and boo boos, you know.
Boom booms and boo
Oh, yeah.
He's been really busy. We had a lot of fun with that. I think we made some good connections with that. Lay was able to show off a lot of her skills. JoJo learned a lot new skills. We all learned some new skills with sculpting and building stuff and making stuff. And
You did, especially with airbrush.
I learned a little bit of airbrush from Dakota.
Training.
He's a very, very calm trainer, you know. I would do some stuff and I'd be like, all right, coach, help me out here a little bit. He's all right, spread it out a little more, you know, go a little bit darker here, a little bit lighter here, you know, next time don't put so much here, whatever. And, you know, I over time, I think I got used to it and I'd really want to do more of it, you know. But in the corporate world and everything like that, we call it, in the technical world, we call it R&D, you know, research and development. We've been doing a lot of that with our looks and the way we sculpt things and make things and paint things and all that good stuff. But like Dakota said, it is for the community. This was allowing the first responders, health medics, police, fire departments,
The students.
the students at the
nursing.
local college, even mental health, right? They had
And the
some folks there.
doctors, too.
Yep.
The new doctors coming in through Trinity and all that.
Yep. So they all got to come in, exercise, active shooter, bombers, things like that. And, we were patients ourselves, we were victims of this. We did ourselves up and everything. And they came in, learned how to triage and talk to the patients, prioritize the patients. There was 2 rounds, right? The first round apparently wasn't the greatest. A lot of people, you know, unalived during that time.
Right.
But then the second round went a lot better. We actually got to go out and act that time, and it was a lot of fun. Um, and like I said, we made some good connections, and I think we'll be participating in some more of that. They actually invited us to do another event out in Macon, but it was going to be during another event we have coming up. Was that one during?
Setup.
What's that?
It was during setup.
Oh, yeah.
Or the 8th, yeah.
So for the event that we've been talking about, we are a week away. The Tattoo Ink Nation Southern Classics Tattoo Expo here in Perry, Georgia. We will be out there. We're going to have a lot of cool things going on. We will be live there giving interviews to some of the artists, some of the guests, just talking about, kind of the stigma behind tattoos and how it's evolved and how the artists came up and why people are getting the tattoos they're getting, things like that. We will be applying fake tattoos or temporary tattoos to whoever wants them until they run out.
Yeah.
Right. We'll have some of our Haunt for a Cause merch and other things like that.
Sleeves for sale.
Oh yeah, and the tattoo sleeves. Yes, we will have they're like nylon tattoo sleeves
Yeah.
that you can buy. Yep, I got them in there. I'll show you when we're done. We'll have those selling those. Dakota and LA Rogers, they're going to be doing SFX.
Makeup.
Can you explain what you're doing?
So cool looks coming out. LA, I won't be there Friday, but LA will be doing some work with JoJo here.
Happy.
Happy
We'll
coming
be
out.
out. Yep.
Then Saturday, LA is due. Should I say what we're doing?
No.
But
You're each doing
SFX looks.
Yeah,
Right.
we'll each be doing 2 looks on Saturday and Sunday. We might do more just depending on the way. Saturday, I will be only doing 1 look, but we're going to do some SFX, show kind of what we did or what we do in general, and kind of might show off what we did as well on what we say,
Boom boom and boo boos.
boo boos.
Right.
Just depending on how it goes. I mean, the primary reason we're there is just to help support the tattoo expo and all that, but also to show off some cool looks to go along with badass tattoos out there. So.
Right. Yeah, can't wait. Again, Southern Classics, presented by Ink Nation, May 9th, 10th, and 11th. It is at the Georgia Fairgrounds. $25 for the day, $40 for the weekend. Minors 12 and under, $15, and kids 3 and under in for free. This will be a family-friendly event. We will have characters there. We will not be scaring. We were there to just show off our looks and everything like that. We've done some pretty good partnerships with the people putting us on. There's some really cool people. They do really cool ink work. And Sabrina, she's going to be doing some demonstrations of her color work, her watercolor looks, and how to blend your colors better and things like that. So if you're interested in how to do watercolor tattoo ink, if you're an artist and you want to improve your skills, I would highly recommend attending that one.
And also another plug with what Dakota and LA are doing as well. If you've ever wondered how, when you go to a haunted attraction, how they get to look that way, that's what you're going to get to see out on display through that whole process.
So we'll be, like we won't be scaring, but we will be scary looking. Like, not going to hold back or anything like that, but we'll be our people that we're doing up or whoever's volunteering that we plan coming out. Like they'll be in full gear, but we won't be actively like seeking you out.
Right.
I mean, we'll be hanging out, having fun. So feel free to get your pics and stuff like that. And we'll interact with you, but like you'll get to see the behind the scenes look, and it's always very interesting because people don't really think about what all goes behind it.
It's a lot of work, and it takes a long
And it
time for
takes
some of
a
these
lot of
looks.
time,
Yes.
Well, I mean, you think about like from where it was back when the first Hellraiser came out. Doug Bradley had 5 prosthetic pieces put on, and it took 6.5 hours.
Right.
And he said, I didn't want to do this character because I don't want to sit in a makeup chair for 6.5 hours. But look what he's done with it. You
Right.
know what I mean? But it's the work of the makeup artist that, bring the character look to life, and then it's the actor's job to carry it the rest of the way.
Right.
So,
What do
but
you
it
say?
starts with them.
Right. In the
Guys
makeup
just like
room,
this man
well,
right
it
next
starts
to
with
me.
an idea,
Well, yeah,
and
it
then the
starts with
ideas
the
evolve.
concept, exactly.
Yep. And that's exactly what the team's been doing up in our makeup studio here, creating looks, brainstorming things, research and development, and our
And you get to
characters
see it.
continue to evolve.
Yep, and
You
you
know.
get to see all that cool stuff.
Yep.
So definitely come out and check that stuff out. And if you ever wanted to and want to volunteer and be an actor or work behind the scenes or learn how to do this stuff, while you're there, stop and see us. We will give you cards. All you have to do is reach out and we'll get you out to one of the classes.
I'm gonna mute.
Coda. Okay.
All right, we're gonna wait till later for that one. It's going to happen.
Right.
I'm telling.
It'll be a joint effort.
Yeah, there will be.
It's going to be so much fun,
I
though.
expect someone, yeah.
It's going to be so much fun, though.
It'll be good when you get to
Especially with the
interact and do it.
2.0.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. Yep. So again, we've been very busy. We've had some other meetings and stuff we've gone to for the local community. One of my daughter Jolie, her friend is a local beauty queen for Miss Teen Warner Robins, I
Yep.
think. She put on an event for people to come in and talk about volunteer and things like that. And we stood up and talked about the Hunt for a Cause and things like that. And some of the things we're trying to do, we talked about in the past about Rise Together Middle Georgia. This is something we're going to be doing and putting together in the very near future. This is a kind of a coalition, as I think is what Tim said. It's like a coalition where it's the local nonprofits, businesses, personnel, people, who want to get together or who should be getting together to consolidate resources, right, and get the resources and the help out to where it needs. Because there are a lot of duplicated efforts here in the Middle Georgia area, like toy drives, food drives, things like that.
Clothing drives.
Right, and our goal is not to be look at us what we're doing. The goal is about to say look what the community's doing.
Exactly.
Right. We'll do it all
We're
behind
just
the
helping
scenes.
bridge the gaps.
Yep, and that's what it is. There are a lot of gaps.
Yep.
Because in the end, there's a lot of times where people are doing these things and they're collecting it, and then there's so much and they don't know where it needs to go. Well, the problem is that afterwards you start hearing about people who didn't get things, and so we want to get our fingers out into the community, our people out into the community to go out and see where all these things are needed, right? Jojo, I want you to explain that. I mention this all the time about the meeting you went to where the guy was like, how much of an impact could your little organization do?
Oh, yeah. And it was a group of doctors, and I was at the breakfast for the chamber, and he literally said, how can your little haunted house, how much of an impact are you making? How much can you actually donate? And I'm like, it's not about the size of the donation, of the impact. The bottom line is we're doing these things, right? If everyone in this building right now was doing a quarter of what we do out here, Middle Georgia would be a far happier, healthier place to live. There'd be far less homeless, hungry, kids without toys at Christmas and stuff. It's not the size of the impact that's made. It only takes one family. We put together in 2 weeks for the toy drive, we helped 16 families with totes full of goodies that these kids have presents under their tree where they wouldn't.
Quick partnerships with churches, with local businesses, things like that. And it's not about what you know; it's who you know.
It's who you know.
Again, it wasn't like just us showing us what we could do. Like we went and helped put people together, collect all the toys and stuff like that.
Yeah, my father's place, man, they killed it.
Oh yeah.
Like every other day, they're like, "Hey, our tote's full. Come empty it."
Yeah.
But like I said to that doctor, I said it's negative thinking like yours that sets everything back, and it makes people not want to because well, I can't do anything.
Right.
I can't do it. It's just like voting. Well, if I don't, I'm not going to vote because it doesn't count. Well, it does count.
Hmm.
You know, everything that you do helps.
Right.
You know, I don't care if you have two hands or one hand or whatever. You have no arms, whatever. You get yourself around, you can help, and we all can help each other.
Every bit helps. And that's why I say people out here helping with our haunt and stuff like that. "Oh, I didn't do much." What you did saved us for where we didn't have to do it. So yes, you helped
Well, it's just
100%.
like what I said last night. We were working on the bathroom,
Oh yeah.
and I turned around and I said, he's like, "Thank you so much for helping." And I was like, "I don't know what I really did." He's like, "Well, every time you were handing screws and handing boards and handing this and handing that, it's, it takes time away."
Seconds turns into
Yep.
minutes. Just like pennies turn into dollars. Dollars. So, well, that's about a lot of stuff we've been doing. We've also been partnering with another nonprofit, Genesis Joy House. They are who we are dedicating our donations to this year. And we're volunteering. We're doing like their IT stuff now. So we're going to be going there, helping them. I've actually been getting messages from Miss Margaret there, Dr. Margaret Flowers, and taking care of some of the IT stuff, learning some stuff. And because we want to build, she has a huge network, right? We want to build that network and see what kind of impact they have, and we can help impact and stuff like that. So, but
Oh, and also a plug for happy hour too.
oh yes,
I've also had a meeting with Bruce Hewlett over at Happy Hour, and we're going to start working on partnerships with them too. Have their individuals come here. We're going to go over there, maybe do like a makeup thing over there. That would be really cool. But on May 16th, they're having out at the golf course in Warner Robins. I forget what it's called.
International City,
No,
House and Lake one.
no.
going off 96,
Summer's Landing or something.
Statham's Landing.
Statham.
That's it. That on the 16th, that's their golf tournament. So if anybody's interested in that, just go to their website for happy hour, and Bruce
You're gonna
has
explain what
flyers.
happy hour is.
Happy hour is for extraordinary individuals, adult individuals who have like Down syndrome, have it's not disabilities, they're just differently abled.
Right.
And they're amazing people.
Right.
I mean, I went toward the whole campus and we had a ball.
Right.
So,
And the final plug I want to give is we are trying to partner with a new um, energy drink company.
yes.
We're getting several cases for the Tattoo Expo event. They're giving us, a good deal and stuff like that. They can't give free right now because of where they're at. They're brand new. They're starting. So
we can join the affiliate program.
Yep, and we are an affiliate of them. So if you buy through us, you get a discount. We get a kickback from it a little bit. We haven't even tasted them yet, so I'm excited. And we're gonna do some marketing and stuff like that. So see that, wait for that at the and I think there's gonna be a look with one of the cans.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go perfect with Saturday.
We're all gonna be going.
I already got a skit going in my head now.
Uh-oh. What's his name? Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have to send it to Mike. He's a really cool guy. But anyways, that's the final plug. As you can see, we've been very busy. There's been a lot going on. It's not like we've just been ignoring it. We've tried to get every last Friday. Joe's, we're going to do the podcast. Yes, we're going to do it. But then we got stuck doing other things. The past 3 weeks, it's been
we
that
actually
way.
weren't on the property at that time either.
Yeah. So
we didn't get home until we're late.
this topic is the one that we were trying to do the last time, and the internet was giving us problems. And so far, everything seems to be going smooth. Nothing's crashing. Everything seems to be flowing. But yeah, knock on wood. Is it all in your head? Breaking through mental barriers to live limitless. Basically, are you telling yourself you're not capable of doing something before you even get started? I do feel we probably did talk about this, but I don't.
We did, because remember I started the conversation with the Bradley Cooper thing. If you watch the movie Limitless, I also talked about the Matrix with it too. Like, was the pill actually enabling him to live limitless, or was it the placebo effect? And it's very similar to the Matrix. If he would have taken both pills and it became a purple pill, would he still have gone through all of that?
Right.
What if he decided not to take any of them at all? Was Morpheus going to kill him?
But
How much of it was a dream as well? I mean, there's, but we limit ourselves. And a lot of times it's subconscious, but there are times where we know exactly what we're doing. No,
Right.
I can't do that. No, it's not that you can't, you won't. It's a
or
choice. It's
or
a conscious
scared.
choice. Yeah.
There's things
Oh, yeah,
that
there's fear.
prevent us
Oh,
from
yeah.
doing that.
And anger.
I do.
You
We
can be
did.
angry too.
We did finish this topic because I remember this, but it's a good one because what we talked about right before this. I want to get your insight to this, Coda. We last time we talked about this. A lot of us in life will limit ourselves because we feel we're incapable, we're
Inferior.
inferior, we're scared.
We don't have the skill set to match.
Previous experiences,
Yeah, exactly.
things like that. What is your
Traumas.
experience with that?
This one is home. I am very much an overthinker, but I self-sabotage a lot. I'll admit it. A lot of times I don't. My mentality with me is I don't think I'm ever good enough. It's kind of where I'm at. Like I don't think what I can do is going to be. I don't want to say perfect, but like if I do it, everybody else is gonna think it's like garbage. Or if I do it, it's not gonna be correct, And like I automatically in my head just start thinking all those thoughts, going through every possibility, and then I just set myself up, be like, nope, don't do
You
it.
talk yourself out of it.
Talk myself out of it, especially with Smiley, especially some days with him. I'll get in my head, don't think I'm able to do it, don't think I'm good enough. Just Smiley in general, I don't think is, up there in scale as a character or, a big icon, I guess would be the word I'm going for. I don't see myself as that kind of like top notch person, and I sabotage it real quick.
And you talk yourself out of it
Yeah.
before you even start painting them or anything like that.
Yeah.
So-
Talk myself out of it. I'll belittle myself and say it's not worth it.
Is that because of like previous experiences, or is it just something that you've built into yourself?
It's a little bit of both, I would say. Some of it's just, I don't want to say trauma. To me, the word trauma is overused lately, and it's a big blanket statement. But sometimes you do it, and then something triggers or something said that just destroys it.
Right.
Like you can't. Every time you try to redo it, it's just like it clicks in your head, and you're just like,
Right.
do I wanna?
Is it even worth the time now?
Yeah, is it even worth the time? And then you self sabotage so long. Like even with me, like there's spells I won't do stuff for a period of time, and it's just like, do I still even have the capabilities? And then you start talking yourself out. Yeah, so it's a lot of with me. It's a lot of I talk myself out.
Right. So going back to what you said a little bit ago, becoming an iconic character. I'm going to relate this to the haunt because we're in full haunt, over the past several weeks. You mentioned an iconic character. What do you think it takes to be an iconic character that you don't meet? This goes back to the conversations we had in the past, right? Putting all the thoughts out on the table and then picking out the reality of it, right? Like start laying those things out, and this is it's like a mental exercise, right? Laying all that stuff out and then picking out like, I got that, I got that, I got that, and then there's probably very few things left out on the table in the end. If you actually did that, I bet you are an iconic character in the end.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
We've seen you in action. I mean,
Right.
we're really going to see you in action this year because Chikatilo is going to put you through your paces.
Yeah.
I'll make your ass iconic.
We can't talk about that yet.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's what I don't do is instead of picking like doing the positivity of I do have this, I do have this, I'm not this. I'm
Right, you're
putting
on the
stuff on the
negative
table
scale.
versus taking stuff off the table.
Right.
Just all the negative thoughts. Like, I'm not known what Smiley related wise. Like, I'm not that popular. I don't have a huge following. Like, blah blah blah. I don't have a lot of I don't know haters or whatever drama people. Try to you know. But so it's just I don't see myself like as a normal stigma when it comes to like icons like that, where they have a lot of drama or there's a lot of attention on them and this that and there. And I'm not saying I want that, but it's just one of the things I check off in my head that's why I'm not.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's supposed to say all in your head. I mean, not all of it. I mean, because some of the stuff is probably reality, right? And that's why we have to do the self check. We have to evaluate ourselves, what we got going on. Sorry, there's a train going by.
But what can we do to increase your presence and everything like that? Exactly what we're about to do. It's things like this. Like, I don't know. I would have loved watching Smiley spray paint people, airbrush people on Moulage, because that definitely would have entertained quite a few people too.
Well, I could.
But out here at this convention, it's massive,
Mm-hmm.
and you're all decked out. When you're done painting him up, you need to wander around.
You're gonna have lots of pictures. And I'll tell you this: when Smiley or Dakota came to Tarrant Highway 127, like when people say, "What? Isn't he over?" And I'm like, "He was." People know who the hell you are. Like I know him. And literally, my daughter, we were out at Mexican. I was like showing pictures, like that's Smiley. He's best friends with my uncle. Good friends with my uncle or whatever. You know who I'm talking about? She told me the name. I forget. Jolie would probably know. But yeah, you're friends with one of Jolie's friends' uncles. I've never met him, but we were at Mexican. She said that. So people know who you are, not just. So it's one of those things. And I think conversations like this, help. Like we always talk about the iron sharpens iron, right? And every one of us needs it. Even if we're like the best mindset or whatever, everybody has a breaking point. Everybody has those days. You mentioned this, in the past, and Kevin Halls of Havoc, he's like, I'm a normally pretty cool guy, so when I'm not, please don't hold it against me,
Right.
because we're going to have our days.
Oh yeah.
Everybody has their days. And being able to recognize that in people, right? And being able to be there for them and talk to them and,
Or leave them be.
or yep, sometimes that's what they need.
Yep.
Or leave them be, but be there with them because that's might be what they need as well. Because that's what I needed.
They need
a while
quiet
back.
backup.
Yep.
And if they need the sounding board, they'll pull you to the side and let it rip.
Right. So, in the end, what do you think is really stopping you during those times?
mainly me and just being alone. I've big battle with depression and all that too, so that adds into the fuel of the whole self sabotage. But it's just like you guys just said, which is why I'm very appreciative and y'all push me, is because when I am alone, that's when I really
Get the wheel gets spinning
Oh,
up there,
yeah.
don't they?
and
It's easy to get dark.
Oh yeah.
and like it's just I don't know how to explain it. It's just I tried. It's more of a setup. Like mentally, I can't fuck it up. Sorry to use the word.
We can say whatever the hell we want on it.
I can't fuck it up if I don't do it. It's kind of the baseline mentality.
Mhm.
Like if I don't do it, I can't. So instead of trying to do it, just don't do it.
Right.
And that's the general baseline behind it.
So is it you're more a fear of messing it up than anything?
Yeah, messing it up or just
It's not good enough.
not good enough, and then like again, just if I do it, and then it's the coolest thing I think, and then says something.
We were talking about
But
this with
everybody
LA.
interprets things differently
Very
too.
true.
I
Look
mean,
at the
especially
crazy ass. Look
art.
at Picasso. Look at his work. Like
Yeah, oh,
it's
yeah,
some weird ass shit, but I mean,
yeah.
dude's
Monet,
famous as
all of
shit.
them.
You know what I mean? So, what was that?
The cats did
Dave's
something
having a party.
downstairs.
Oh Lord, our cats have learned to jump onto the top of the cabinets in the kitchen,
The top of the
I
cabinet.
warned you. My cats do that.
and they dropped one of the gourds down, and
Oh no.
they haven't broken anything yet.
Well,
So
that
that sounded dangerous
That
down there,
sounded,
though.
yeah, pretty. He
So-
probably peed himself.
When I get that, like if I don't do it, I can't fuck it up.
Right.
Nobody can say anything about it.
No expectations.
Yep. But how
Are you?
we were talking about
Zendaya?
with LA about this.
Are you Zendaya in Spider-Man?
What?
Like, if I don't set the expectation, I can't be disappointed.
Kind of.
Because remember, she says that in Spider-Man. Oh yeah, well,
I don't remember that.
yeah. And Peter just looked at her and was like, "You think like that?" She's like, "Yeah. If I don't set that expectation, I can't be disappointed."
I mean, there's some
Wow.
truth to that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it is limiting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if
I called her Zendaya.
how do you
Gee,
how do you learn?
Forgive me. Forgive me.
How do you learn and how do you grow? Though, like you gotta. To me,
We make him do it. Not really make him, but we encourage him to keep
Strong
doing it.
support group is what I'm learning with you guys versus
right?
previous.
Your
Look, I got
circle
pictures
matters.
Yeah.
I got pictures of me that he airbrushed on me for the Moulage event in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, we had to rush. We
And-
got it.
Yo, my shit was on lock.
I just
Mm-hmm.
and you don't need a big circle. You just need to
No.
know. And Chuck tells me this all the time because I found something and I sent it to him about if you can't defend me when I'm not in the room, I don't need you in my circle.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And there's been some contention in my household about me defending people, but it's because of what we're doing here. You know what I mean? Yeah,
The core values and
Right.
everything.
and sometimes those people only have one person or a couple people, right? And although, we're all growing and everything, we need people to help us through that. You know what I mean? That's at sometimes some people there's a point, there's a line for everything, right? There's a point where some people have to help themselves, drug addicts, alcoholics, people who always stuck in the woe is me, like you could only do so much. You know what I mean?
Can't save everybody.
You can't save everybody. And
You can take them to the bucket, but you can't make them drink it.
right.
So
I mean, it can get to the point of holding their mouth open and pouring it down if you want to take it that far. But if it gets to that point, they need to.
I should.
They got to recognize it themselves.
Yeah, I shouldn't have to waterboard you to
Yeah.
put on Smiley. Please don't make me do that.
No.
And
Chicken
in
Hill
the
would probably like it though.
in the beginning when we first started hanging out, I was reaching out and I'm like, I don't want to overstep, because I was still learning and everything like that. But you've opened up more over time, and even right now, like when you first started talking earlier, is like bringing chills to me. It's not getting weird or anything, but like you're talking more, you're open more, you're Dakota.
Yeah, and it's just something I've learned and learning.
Mhm.
Not had the strongest core group.
Well,
I've been solo me. Again, part of that is my mentality because like I can't tell my friends if I don't have friends, kind of thing. Stuff like that. So it's just.
I hope the message is
the other split end of it, which kind of goes with the whole Smiley thing and all that. Like the people you thought you could, rely on, who, even if, because I mean, again, you shouldn't just blow smoke up people's butt, whatever. But like if something's not right, certain way you should go about saying it. But
Mhm.
like again, that the people you rely on, you expect that or should want that from them. But like if the people you are relying on completely just
Right.
like say something that totally out of line and all that. That's part of my issue.
Right.
It's like I don't want that. Like I don't. One person thinks that, and then I'm worried.
Right.
If, a bunch of other people are gonna do it
Right.
or have the same thought. So
We say it all the time that you can't change what anybody thinks. You can't change what anybody feels.
No.
You can talk to them, and in this again, we talked about this. I think the very first podcast. The biggest thing my therapist that I took out of all the sessions that I had was I realized what my problems are and what someone else's problems are because I would focus on them. They don't like me, or I fucked up, and I've done everything I can, and I would dwell on that, and it was draining so much weight.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get to the point for relief and healing to where that's their problem now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to stop thinking about this, or I'm gonna drive myself fucking bonkers. And I've fucked up big, several times in the past, and I've done everything I can and all that, and I was dwelling and dwelling and dwelling, and it just was about literally killed me.
Mm-hmm.
And my therapist talked me through all of that, and it sucks sometimes. Like, not my problem anymore, especially if you're the one that caused the problem. You know what I mean? But sometimes you have to let that go. If you've proven and the person's still not able to, you got to let it go.
Well, just
as a
like in
person.
NA and AA, there's, when you get to your making amends portion of your steps, I'm literally making a list of everyone that I wronged in the process of my addiction and everything like that, right? My job is to reach out to these individuals, go to them face to face, whether I meet them for coffee or whatever, explain to them what my part in it was. I understand how it affected you, what my behaviors caused you. I'm here to apologize to you now. Moving forward, because that's the thing. Amends process is apology, right? It's not 2 words. It's not I'm sorry.
Right.
That's just words. An apology effectively has the action behind it.
Right.
I recognize what I've done. My job is to be cognizant of it moving forward to not allow that to happen again.
Right.
If I get close to that, I just need your assistance in the beginning to kind of coach me through not letting it go that far again.
Right.
Now it's on them.
Right.
If they don't accept that and choose not to, that's their problem.
Right.
I did my part. When you made that
And that's all you
amends,
can do.
that you move on to the next individual and you let that go.
That's all you have control over.
Because 9 times out of 10, they're gonna, I accept your apology, but it's gonna take me time.
Mhm.
Because I need to see the action. You took all this time ruining my
Words-
shit. And
words are
stealing
one
from me
thing.
and da-da-da-da. You got to build that back.
Right.
I'm not saying once you make the amends right then and there that I'm not accepting it now, so don't talk to them anymore. No, prove it to them.
Right.
But if they can't after, a year or two, then you might have to cut ties.
Right. Yep.
That
That goes
for
both
your
ways.
healing,
It
so
goes-
that you don't have to wear it every time you go to a family function, and it's like, oh my god, remember? And then you came and apologized, blah blah blah, and
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, you're changed, but I remember all the things you did. Let it go.
Right.
I had to, or else I'd
I
be in
don't
the
do it
grave.
anymore.
Right.
So, and I've mentioned to you in the past, and I have written a song about it, and I sent it to Chuck and everything like that too. Just because that's how it was in the past or has been in the past doesn't mean that's how it has to be or is going to be in the future. And that it's again proving, right? This is a new friend group for you. Like, we're proving to you, right? And you're proving to us, right? That's what matters. And we're not going to always get it right. None of us are. We're going to slip. We're human. And it's holding each other accountable. I tell you, I've told Ray this many times, like, because of previous trauma and things happened in the past and stuff. Like, if you see any of that out of us, or our friends or whatever, like, you
We
got to
need
let
to
them
address
know.
it. Yep.
Because if you don't, then it goes unaddressed, untalked about, and it festers and it gets bigger and worse, and
Anything left unchecked can be dangerous.
yeah. And it's helped Amanda out. When y'all first moved here, Amanda's like, I don't want to talk to him. I was like, but this is going to cause a gap between y'all. You need to talk to him about this. And she's like, will you talk with him with me? And like, it was an awesome conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
and we have plenty of them all the time. Sometimes she's got to actually catch me as I'm getting ready to walk out the door. It's like, JoJo, let me talk to you real quick. Okay.
It was in her head, and then now
Yeah.
worked it out. And
So yeah, we talked this a little bit. Removing the governor, right? The limiter on
Yeah,
what's
see, that was
prevented.
another thing we talked about too.
I was reading through all these notes.
So if you go and you rent a boat, this is a perfect example. If you go to rent a fishing boat, they put governors on the motors for the people that rent them so that you can't gun it and everything like that, so that the engine doesn't wear out so quickly. It's also a safety thing, but it's also annoying for the people who rent it, because if you're fishing, the tide's only going to be where you need it for so long, so you're trying to get out there, so you get, you're putzing along,
right?
But they do it for a reason. That's a business, though. They're doing it to preserve their product. We do it as self-preservation a lot of times.
Right.
But it's very limiting, because without risk, you can't achieve the right reward or all its potential.
Right.
Because you can't meet your full potential that way.
And that was actually one of the things that LA and I were talking about up in the makeup studio when we were preparing for Moulage. I'm a I'll figure it out as I go type person most of the time.
He's going to tell that.
Right. Yeah. This is where the R&D conversation came from, right? Yeah. Like, I was mixing silicone and all this stuff, and she's like, Joe, no. I'm like, what? I'm just like, pour what?
It's already pouring it.
He's like, what are you going to do with it? I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. I've watched plenty of videos, and I'm like, I probably should have made this a 2-part mold. But we messed up plenty of other things planning it all out too. You know what I mean? So the point is I went in head first, no real plan, step by step, right? I had the general concept.
You ripped the governors off.
Yeah, and I just went for it, right? And even when we planned very similar things, a mold and stuff like that, we still messed it up. We learned more along the way.
Oh yeah.
So if you plan, you might talk yourself out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Oh, you can.
If you think of every possibility. Yeah, exactly. So it's just one of those things. It is literally finding that balance, with things.
See, there's a reason why you're not an architect. Right? Plans, blueprints.
Oh.
Yeah.
Think of every little thing.
Yeah.
And then you're like, we have no bridges.
Right.
We'd still be on horse and carriage.
The windows are this big. You're only looking out that road. They can't see you. They can't mess with you in there. I guarantee it.
So that some of the techniques that we talked about, having a group of friends, having a good circle of, social light, and, you mentioned, was it today, your social battery, things like that, sometimes you need that to help your social battery recharge, your group of people, your group of friends. And your group of friends also need to understand that sometimes you need your time alone as well, right? And
see, the communication was a struggle that I was having a couple weeks ago, right? Mm-hmm. Because all I wanted was communication.
Mm-hmm.
And my dude was like, I'm in a totally different space right now. And I didn't know that at the time. So I got frustrated. And others got frustrated. And then we had to hug it out. And I was like, all I want you to do is just text me.
Oh, is that it?
I can't.
Is that it?
I can't. I can't make it today.
But
it alleviates.
You talked about it.
Right.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And
we
now
hugged it out and we were good.
We talked about this. Was it here? No, it was during the meeting for the nonprofit, the board meeting about setting expectations,
Yes.
right? If you don't know,
Right. Yeah.
right, like what the expectation is or what to expect from somebody or
Right. Or what you need.
right,
Right.
people don't know. You
Right.
know what I
It's
mean?
just like what we're trying to do with the Middle Georgia thing.
Right,
We don't know who needs what
right,
everywhere. We know quite a few from the feelers we have, but there are so many organizations out there. If we get in touch with all these people and we figure out where all the feelers are,
right,
then we can collaboratively work together effectively.
right.
And that's what we try to do here with all of us.
Yep.
We're constantly like, arms are out. All you got to do is come here, give you a hug, and we'll talk it out. Walk it out.
Oh,
We'll walk the whole
did you listen to that remix
campus.
today? I like that version better.
I still haven't listened to it. I haven't had a chance.
You suck.
Tell me about it.
So when I first got off work, you asked about putting them on YouTube. I got to convert them to a video and then do it. But I like that version better personally. I just like the soulfulness behind it. It's kind of like a Ryan Bingham,
Oh, okay.
the new version of Suno.
It still has all the smiley stuff too, right? It has the milk bone stuff and everything in it.
Not that
No,
song.
not that song. The song he made
Yeah, for him a few months ago.
a few months ago when I first started.
Oh,
going
yeah.
into it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I like the version better. There's one of them literally sounds like Nirvana unplugged, like
Oh.
so perfect. But anyways, off topic. That's the way my mind works. I'm sorry.
Squirrel.
Um,
Shiny spoon.
but like I said, some of the techniques, like having your friends action oriented goals. Set a goal. Goals are meant to be achieved. We talked about this in the past. Goals are meant to be achieved. Otherwise, it's a dream, and dreams don't come true. It's my personal opinion. If you want to do something, you have to set that goal. Are you a go-getter? Set your goals higher. If not, baby steps. Crawl, walk, run. With this Rise Together Middle Georgia, we're getting the fillers out there. Tanya told us last week, and the best thing to do is just set a date. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to work with
Unity
Doc-
Project.
well, yeah, she's got the Unity Project, but I don't
that's
know.
another thing we've got too. I forgot about that. We forgot about that.
What? The
The
mental health
9th,
one?
Friday
Yes.
morning, we have the Unity Project's mental health project.
Mental health matters, right?
Mental health matters.
Yep. So we've been busy.
And that's 9 to 3:30.
Yes, because we're leaving.
Well, no, we're leaving at noon.
We're leaving early. Yeah.
But the actual event is until 3:30.
We opted out of lunch so we can get over there. I was like, we should have said we're getting lunch, but that's kind of cheating a little bit, taking advantage a little bit maybe. But
we care so much. We put the care and scare. That's what we say.
we have a song for that too.
Yeah.
So rewriting the scripts, turning the I can't to why not me? Why am I not able to do that? Well, maybe because you are talking yourself out of it, or maybe you have failed in the past and you don't want to do it again. But try again. Practice makes perfect, or better.
What does Yoda say? What does Yoda say?
I don't know.
Do or do not. There is no try. I can't even do it anymore.
We'll know that in 2 more days.
Yeah.
Dad joke. And I do think people that I've seen, either one or A, haven't been pushed to try new things, right? Because I think that was with Amanda. She was never pushed to try new things, or if she tried new things and didn't like it, she wasn't, that extra push,
Right.
And fear, just straight fear, not fear of failure, just straight fear, but just YOLO, it's a mindset, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not afraid to fail. Like, I do go head first into a lot of things. Shut up. When I do things,
and most of them, I will say, most of them do work out well.
I'd probably say 85% of them.
There have been a few though.
Yeah, I mean,
You're
Hey.
right. You don't know until you literally try. It's just like going to the pool.
Mm.
You don't know how cold the water is until you stick your toes in there.
We were literally
You
talking.
really don't know until you launch yourself in. Yeah,
Jump
exactly.
into the deep end without the floaties. We were telling LA last
Yes,
week, right?
exactly.
She was very fearful of potentially doing like a
seminar.
demonstration or seminar of SFX stuff like that, and
I've got to tell you that story.
and
Oh no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where we were talking about doing that.
oh yeah,
That convention thing.
It ain't happening.
Wow.
But I understand the fear and everything like that. But the conversation was going, like crazy in LA. Yes, I'm talking about the conversation we had. So if you're watching this,
Oh, you were like judo chopping, kung fu fighting the whole time.
you remember it, right?
Yeah,
You were there.
Me and JoJo were looking at each other
like, oh, really? He's gonna start throwing shit.
But I feel I handled it okay, and I know she was scared. And at one point, I think she was literally leaving. But then I think which is good. This is where I'm very proud of LA. Like, she was self-reflecting, which I think she's had a hard time in the past.
Oh yeah.
And she's doing it. Like, she's visually, obviously growing through the things that she's going through. She sat down, we talked it through, and she actually started laughing about it and talking about it. She's like, "Look," she came to me. "I'm scared. It's a lot, all at once." I'm like, "I get it, but you're not alone.
Right.
We win together, we lose together,
Right. Exactly.
100%, and we're not going to lose.
No.
Because we're going to learn something out of it. That's a win. No matter what, there's some type of lesson learned.
Yeah.
So that's a win alone.
Well, unless you choose not to learn the lesson. I mean,
Right.
That's where the failure comes in.
Well,
if you actively are not looking at how, the things that were not successful,
mhm,
if you're not looking at that and trying to find or formulate ways to fix it,
right.
that is a failure.
Mhm.
It's just like with the Shamrock thing. We immediately knew what happened.
And we fixed some on the spot.
Oh, yeah, but we also knew right away, oh, there's this going on, that going on, this going on, that going on. There's no traffic.
Well, and we had an after-event review during the board meeting and all that stuff. Like,
right. But
as this team, all that,
failure.
We will always have something to learn out of everything. You know what I mean? We always talk the things through, and I'm always coming to you like, "Hey, do we need any other makeup? Do we need this? What else do we need? What can we do better?" Because it matters. You know what I mean? So, you guys have anything to add before I move on to the next segment?
Mm-mm.
This is a good question. I'm going to ask both of you this. I'll start with you, JoJo. What's a personal goal you used to believe was impossible? I don't know if we touched this last time.
A personal goal
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't believe was achievable that I have.
Mm-hmm. That you have achieved. Yeah. What's a personal goal you used to believe was impossible, but you actually achieved it?
Because basically anything that I've ever set as a goal, I've gone after and made happen.
How about maybe we can reword it? Either a goal or something you didn't really set a goal, but never thought you would ever even attempt, and then you were successful with it. Something you would have never thought of doing or anything like that.
Well, for the longest time, I never thought that I would quit drinking.
That's fucking perfect.
For real.
One.
I never thought. I thought I would die, from the bottle. Because I didn't think I'd ever get one out of my hand.
But what did you do to change that?
I practically died and said, I've got to go to rehab. Like, literally.
Humor, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I literally.
Yeah.
But it took a conscious effort, though, right?
Yeah.
It was a struggle.
Yeah, it's rock bottom or death. When you get to that point, it's like, okay, something's gotta.
That's a good one because it's proving the point.
Mm-hmm.
You have to try. Like, you have to give it effort sometimes, especially when it's difficult.
Oh yeah,
that's a difficult one.
Oh, it was rough.
A chemical dependency like that, is very hard to stop.
Yeah.
It's a perfect one, actually. How about you, Coda?
That's a tough one to follow up on.
Did you quit Jello shots?
Huh?
Did you quit Jello shots? Okay.
Hmm.
Well, you didn't have the problem I did either. So.
Being honest, like I'm borderline, but some people,
What, borderline alcoholic?
yeah.
Really?
I mean,
I don't smell it.
yeah.
Do you
Like,
drink every day?
No.
Oh.
There's been some points in the past going on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've been every night, but I don't peter over.
Mm-hmm.
With the personally myself, I never get sappy and make you feel all sorts of good. I never thought I would have found a friend group that cares and promotes, wants to work with each other and stuff like that, and not just for a certain thing, but just all around.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have my, two people that I do care about, but like, in general, I never thought I'd have this group.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have.
I appreciate that. It means a lot because this is a conscious effort, to it's all started with trying to be a better person in general. I was never a bad person. I've obviously done bad shit. We all have done bad shit, and whether people want to say they haven't, they're lying. I'll tell you to your face. But to be a better person overall, not just for me, but for my kids, for my family, for everybody, and my friends and stuff like that. And I've been in places where you are and have been, and in and out of, and like I've been there, and it hurts. Robin Williams has said it. Many people have said this. They try to be happy so that others don't have to feel their pain. But in the end, those others are feeling the pain, whether he wants them to or not. So we have to talk about these things and we have to be there for each other. But it is reciprocal. You know what I mean? You can't always be the empath. I think that's what Tanya said. Like, it's hard to be an empath, because sometimes you're the only one, and then you put all that weight on your shoulder, and I'm going to call my father-in-law out on this because I'm creating these shirts that say "fuck the stigma." Right? I'm probably really loud right now too. Can you read that, Coda?
If this offends you, imagine how it feels to suffer in silence.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
If this makes you think, then it's doing its job.
And basically, if you could see the artwork, it's a person with all these demons or things all in their head and their thoughts, right? What does that one say?
You might not like the words, but we can't stand to lose another person.
And the last one.
Uncomfortable words might save a life, but silence won't.
Right. And the reason I say I'm calling out my father-in-law, Jeff, is because, and he's only looking out for me, right? And I understand that, is the public use of the word fuck. But it is very intentional, and they are going to be on t-shirts, and I'm going to be sporting it around wherever I go, because I want it to strike conversations, courage to converse. That's exactly why I'm doing this. Why we're doing this now, because although this was an initial concept, you've helped me develop this quite a bit, so this is us. But seriously, fuck the stigma. A lot of this started with men's mental health because men aren't allowed to talk about their feelings,
right,
or have feelings, or
right,
cry, or fuck that is all I got to say.
Yep.
Because, and I was going back and forth with Jeff about this, and he was telling me, the public display of that word, and it potentially invites Satan and the devil into your world and all that stuff, and a lot of people might not like it, but there's a lot of things out there that people don't like, but they still do it.
But it's not the word hate.
Right? It's not hate. Hate is
And
a very
hate
strong
is
word.
a much stronger word than that word.
Yep. And again, I want it to strike conversations, and it might change somebody's mind. It might make that person that's reading that shirt check on their friend that they haven't
Mhm.
checked on in a while or something like that. Exactly. You're Yeah, I am a man or a woman, and I don't want to talk about it, but they might talk to me about it, right?
Right.
And get them the help they need,
Yeah, the
or
T-shirt could be the spark.
right. Um, and all Jeff was trying to do was mentor me, and I get that, I understand. And his final word was to me, "Well, there's still integrity." And I was like, "So I don't have any integrity?" He's like, "No, you got integrity. That's not what it is." He says, "It's just my opinion toward you, and not that it matters or anything, and it does. I appreciate it. However, it's intentional. To not to piss people off, but to start the conversation. And are there other ways to do it? 100%, yes. But it's a bold color. It's a bold image. It's a bold statement.
Okay, so how is that any different than half of the political conversations that we've seen on television? Politicians are like, no, fuck this shit.
Religious and
We are not. Fuck the bad media and all this mess.
JoJo and his billboard.
None of the religious billboards I've seen, like, sometimes I'm like,
Yeah.
Pushing it in your face.
But, I mean, how is that any different?
Right.
You get all this nasty rhetoric from these politicians and stuff like that. How is it any different?
Don't
Where's
hate me
their
because I
integrity?
sin differently than you.
Yeah, well, he turns around and says, fuck the news media. No, y'all are, It's, to me, it's,
Yep.
That is going to incite a totally different form of a riot
Mm-hmm.
than the other sides.
Right.
With politics and everything like that. That's going to spark conversation that can save somebody's life.
I did ask somebody if they loved them, but they're like, "I'm too involved with the church,"
Right.
Stuff. And I get
Can't
that,
wear that out in
100%.
public.
100% get it, but I will be wearing it, and for a reason, for a cause. So, oh, I appreciate that, because I hope you feel that we're here for you. I feel that you've said some things to me to help me out a little bit with some stuff, and especially like with the makeup and stuff. At first I was like, you're like, no, just add this, add that. I'm like, and I started getting a feel for it, and it just a little bit of calm words
Guidance,
can help
yeah.
can take someone a million miles. You know what I mean?
That was gonna be my answer. Was like, I never would have thought I'd be like the person who trained me. I never thought I'd be the makeup artist, teacher, and all that.
Mhm.
Never thought I would be it, but I'm doing it.
Right.
But that was gonna be my answer. But like, more again, fuck the stigma. More we're talking about mental health and all that. Like, I'm trying to. I mean, Smiley, that's facts, all that. That's a big portion of my life. Yes, that is me. But again, you want try to give you more of a Dakota answer.
Gotcha.
So,
Yep.
like,
It was a good answer.
Yeah.
Yep. And
I hope you're ready for the 17th because you're helping teach.
that's the haunt,
yeah.
Mr. Haunt. Oh, he said he's been ready for that since day one.
Somebody wanted to criticize my business decisions.
Just because it's happened in the past does not mean that's how it's going to or it has to happen.
Oh yeah, you're already signed up.
Yeah.
I just can't pay you. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Now, for the public record, my text message the other day, yes, I was frustrated where I was. That message, no frustration was coming towards you. I was like, I don't want to micromanage. Like, I just want y'all to have it under control. Do whatever you want. You don't have to tell me. I don't care.
I felt the energy though. I never like, ooh, he's having a bad day.
The damn thing wasn't working. I was getting so frustrated. But that message, from the bottom of my heart, was no aggression or anything at it. I was like, do what y'all do. I don't care, honestly. Like, just make the decision and go. Like, I don't need to have an input in it because I want you to feel you do have that control over that. You know what I mean? I might ask questions and all that, but
also kind of rolls back like the whole when we had the whole argument, you, me, and like we're frustrated with each other and all that. because I was already talking myself out. I already
Right.
planned myself out of doing anything,
Hmm.
and I did
And
express that to you and all that. Like I
no, no,
already.
no, JoJo, you can't have that.
So I mean, that was part of it too. Is like why I was messaging you too. Is just one like you help keep me in check. Like I've kind of realized that, and I, you know, thinking about it now, I involuntarily probably told you just to again not step in toes or whatever, step in positions, ladder and all that. But it just gets. I've sort of recognized you as you help keep well, like we keep each other in check. So
Hmm.
it's just kind of that.
That's what we got to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then again, part of trauma too with me with previous is I do something and don't tell somebody in there.
Hopefully, what I've said has been proven. You
Yeah.
know, and again, it might not 100% of the time. I try. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? As long as it doesn't involve taking down my fucking house or some crazy shit like that, like I don't care. You know what I mean? So, so the one goal, there's a lot of things. You know, like I'll try anything. Like literally, if I have to, I'll do fucking brain surgery. Like if I absolutely have to, and it's a life and death, I'm gonna fucking do it. You know what I mean? Like what's the worst can happen? You cut into the head, and you know it only goes so deep, so you got to take a little bit of time, maybe. Like I'll think through it. You know, but with my tattooing, you know, like I would have never thought I would have ever done a tattoo, right? So my brother was doing it. I was like, let me try it. So I did that one. I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know, I've always been able to draw and stuff. Like tattooing is different than drawing, but it's similar concepts. But I was pushed by my brother to do a tattoo on his hand. And I was like, there's no fucking way. There's too many details. I've never done it. He's like, shut up and fucking tattoo my hand. You know, and is it the best? No, but it is better than stuff I've seen professionals do. You know, so that's one that I won't say necessarily impossible, but I would have never thought I would have ever done that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I've done other tattoos and stuff like that. And I want to get ready to do more tattoos. So got it all set up at the legal tattoo shop. But yeah, and then the next one is coming up. We're all sculpting and doing all this stuff. I'm going to be doing masks. Like
And you're
that's
gonna
that
do
is a
props.
goal. I will be making masks and props, hopefully to the Distortions Unlimited level. You know, that's where I want to be. The props and pneumatics and shit that people are doing, we can do that. We already know how to do that. That's not where my mind's at right now because I want to be able to do that after I do
The
the
sculpting
props and the
part and all
sculpting
that. Yeah.
and do all that shit inside of it. So, well, we're going to be doing it. Baby steps. Like we've proven we're capable, right? Now it's just funding and things like that and getting it all in place. So this next one is: can you remember a time where your mind gave up before your body?
Mm. Yeah, there have been a few tennis tournaments for me where I was literally checked out. I was like, mm-mm. And then my body started talking to me, and it's like, mm-mm, no,
You got this.
you've been doing this. The muscle memory's there. Everything's there. Who cares how much better they are or whatever, you know? And then you get partnered with the right person, and you get out there, and now you're kicking everybody's ass and taking names and having a ball.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think mine's the same in the military with running and stuff because I've always had like leg problems and stuff, you know, and my mind would tell me like, "There's no fuck way you're gonna finish this 5K. There's no way," you know, because I would hurt, but my body just kept going and going. My mind was like, "Fuck, I can't do this. I can't do this," and just you know, so it's weird how that can happen. You know what I mean? You got any of those?
You know, with the smiley thing, there's been times where I just my mind was like, I'm done. Like, there's no point. And then my body kicks in and works the right person
Motivate you.
motivate, especially like when I'm trying to do skits. Like I personally hate doing solo skits. Like getting ready for skid and all that, and then co-star with me and
Play off each other.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
play off each other. What we do,
Mm-hmm.
what I enjoy doing. Me in life in general, there's plenty of times just wanted to give up, especially archery. Did that for quite a bit.
Really?
Mhm.
Like a compound bow? I didn't know that.
Yep. Want to give up, you know, it was a hobby. I mean, it still is a hobby, but like I'd do a couple competitions and be like, couldn't do it. Man, I didn't get top rated, but
Mhm.
I still went and did it,
Right.
finished it. So stuff like that.
But what's the curved bow?
Oh, recurve.
Recurve? Do you do
Yeah.
that too?
I haven't shot one of those. I have two combine bows and a long bow
Yeah.
sitting at my buddy's house.
Yeah, I learned on recurve and longbow.
What's the longbow?
It's real.
Really,
You know,
Similar to a recurve, but just bigger.
it doesn't have that bell out like that. It's just literally like a giant arch.
Hmm.
But like Robin Hood had one.
yeah.
See, that's what I was thinking
Yeah.
about. That's what I was thinking a recurve was.
No, recurve is
smaller.
yeah, smaller, and it has
Like
it literally has
Yeah.
it has its own
Actually,
bevel bow in
Yeah.
it. And it's called that because as you draw it back, it's similar to like the compound bow effect.
so it's a
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
And
it.
then pull it.
Straightens out.
No.
No, it
It
curves more.
yeah, it curves a different way.
I see. Longbow.
Longbows would be like the old school Robin Hood or like
Okay.
Native American.
I see the difference.
Just a big long straight bow.
Yeah, I see the difference. Okay. Okay.
That's the one where you can actually sit,
Mm-hmm.
put your feet there, and draw back like crossbow form. Yeah.
Hmm.
Recurves more close range.
Yep.
Quick.
Indians use
Bow.
the
Yeah.
longbow. Me longbow.
I'm Chief Longbow.
See, I've only shot a compound. Man, I went hunting
In
at
me
the
pants I have short bow,
hunting
but I
plantation.
shoot longbow.
I should have never taken the shot, but I had that buck fever. There was a bunch of buck walking around. I was up in the stand, and shoo, that deer was like bouncing off. I should have never taken it because we practiced for probably an hour. The day before, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting it." I was hitting, only at like 50, not even, maybe 50 feet. And I was hitting.
Yeah.
Just across my backyard. But I took this buck was probably 40, 50 yards maybe. It like went right under his belly.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah,
I was like,
Erlen's like running between his feet, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh look!" Right.
But,
Squirrels are throwing nuts at me again.
how do you challenge your own limiting beliefs? I can tell you what I do. I just fucking do it.
Yeah. It's just like what we talk about all the time. Stop saying it. Stop talking about this shit and just go. Just do it.
If I don't talk myself out of it, I just do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And don't give yourself a chance.
Do you get to
talk
that
yourself.
point ever where you're talking yourself out of it and you're like, no, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it? I do that waking up sometimes, honestly.
Yeah. Waking up, getting ready for work.
Well, that's when I do it the most.
Terrible, but I'm be open and honest. I think I do on the podcast with you. Just even with visiting my kids,
Mm-hmm.
I'll even with them, I'll talk myself out of it. Start doing it, and then be like, nope, I need to be there for my kids. So,
Talk yourself out of like playing with your kids or going to pick them
when I'm
up or.
visiting them, yeah.
Mhm.
Visitations and stuff. So like some days I'll literally start see them.
Right. they'll appreciate it. And I see the stuff you post on there, and and the time that they spend with their Uncle Mike and all that stuff. Like I know they're gonna love that, and I I feel I don't have like the greatest relationship with my kids, but I think I have really good. If I actually think about it, I have great relationships with my kids. We can joke around and all that stuff. I am coming to the realization that they're teenagers. Landon's almost 20. You know, but those times in the past are what's going to matter. They're going to remember this, and if you remember, like if you, yes, you guys are divorced and everything, but that doesn't have to be what their life is. You know what I mean? And they need their dad to do those things. And you are making good memories with them. They're going to remember that. And um, it's funny because you probably have some of the weirdest memories when you were a kid. You know, probably good and bad.
Some don't, because
Yeah,
divorced parents myself.
same. But the weird thing about it is I don't remember a lot prior to about 13. Honestly, just don't. I don't know. Bitch.
It sucks. I have a very good memory, and my mom points it out all the time, and it's been helpful to her situation a couple of times. But like I have a good memory probably till I was about 3.
Really?
I
Mm.
remember a lot.
I'm a visual. I remember things visually, and like I've messed something. Like I've had to be reminded of certain things from my brothers and my family and stuff like that. But like vivid memories of like, oh yeah, this is how it went down. Probably not 13 and older, probably. Otherwise it was a mess. Like I didn't grow up in the worst situation, but I didn't grow up in the best, far from the best situation either. I've lived in the Salvation Army, lived in tiny trailers, lived in cars, lived in hotels and shit with my mom. And but my memory, we were literally talking about this at work today. My memory is fun as a kid. I remember playing marbles in elementary school. I remember being a popular cool kid in elementary school, but being the shy kid that was made fun of in middle school. You know, but we moved around a lot. Um, but and I remember, you ever watched the Florida Story? Watch that movie? It's this mom who had a daughter living in a hotel. I think she was a prostitute doing drugs and stuff like that, and she kept getting moved around to different rooms because policy was you can only stay in a room for so long. Well, the daughter, while the mom's working, going around doing her own thing, walking around doing stuff between all these different businesses and stuff, and they found this vacant building and they caught something on fire. The fire department came. I literally did that, growing up. I remember this. Me and my friends had a lighter, went across the street from where we lived, and we were playing around, and fire got out of control, and we were standing there watching, and the fire department comes and puts it out. I was like, and that was bringing back so many memories for me watching that movie, because I'm like, I, we had it rough, but I didn't think about it that way. You know what I mean? But your kids are going to remember. It is, and I think maybe my brothers, my mom, my dad probably protected me from any of that stuff. I remember 10 years old. I know my dad was still doing cocaine when I was 10 years old because I found his stuff. You know what I mean? And I remember it being 10 years old because I remember that's when I went back and lived with my mom, and that was the year I got a bike for my birthday, right? So I can piece things together like that, right? So, but I was saying this because a lot of people don't remember very vivid things of their childhood. They will remember things like that,
Right.
And I know you're going through a lot and everything like that, but I know you love your kids, and it's a tough situation because sometimes I have those feelings about my kids. Like, JoJo hears my frustration with my kids all the time. Like, I did a horrible job raising them because they don't do this, they don't do that, they don't do that, but in the end, I have to also realize that they're kids, and Amanda and I haven't been the most consistent with the way we've done things either, right? And this is a battle that we have, but they're not bad kids. and they are going to remember the times that we had good. Those memories are going to be over the top than the bad ones. They're going to have bad memories, I'm sure, but um, but I'd love to meet your kids one day. Actually, bring them out to the haunt. Um, Maybe I could be Uncle JoJo. All my nieces and nephews call me Uncle JoJo. They're the only ones in LA that call me JoJo, so I don't care what the hell you say.
Right?
And I know it's probably rough and it's a struggle, but dude, hit me up. Seriously. Your kids love you. I see the things you're having. I see the memories you guys are making. And there was like one very specifically, I was going to reach out to you, but I didn't want to prod because you guys were watching a movie or something. I think it was one of the times Mike was over, because it seems like they have a good relationship with him and they enjoy him and all that. And I sense that you enjoy him being there too with them and making those memories and stuff. But I didn't want to poke and prod, because those are memories that pop up in my mind as growing up. You know what I mean? They're going to remember that. So, but no sappy shit.
Remind him of the 17th too.
17th.
Yeah, for the training. Yeah.
Get your paperwork filled out, Mike.
Yeah, I just roll with it.
Mechanic and boo-boo his head.
Oh no!
That's part of his character, isn't it? He's a welder.
Oh, the shrapnel piece we did. He said, "Ooh, that would go great in my character." I'm like, "Yes, it would."
Then we make it happen.
We can definitely make that happen.
Yeah. Make a reusable prosthetic.
Yeah.
That one was out of latex, right?
That one was, yeah.
Yeah, she kicked that one's ass. Wait, who made that? You made that?
LA.
She made that, yeah. Yeah, she made that, applied it, and painted it. Yep, remember that. So, next question is, why do you think people stay stuck in self-doubt? I mean, we talked a little bit about this, but I want to talk very specifically about it. Why do you think people get stuck in self-doubt and get in that rut?
Well, it's just like patterns of behavior. We all have patterns to our behaviors, and it's recognizable to the people who pay attention the most and stuff like that. But we get into a pattern and we can just stay in that. A rut in the road isn't made in first pass. It takes time.
Right.
And the more you keep driving in it, the deeper it's going to get. Especially
Road
the
over here
softer
will
it is.
prove it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially the softer it gets, the softer it gets. So, but the more you drive off that beaten path, the better it will be to bring yourself back out of it.
I love analogies. That is an awesome analogy. I love that because avoid that rut and it won't get any worse. It won't continue to grow and go a stronger path that's paved potentially. Love that. That is awesome.
Yeah. And sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, it's exact something new.
Like you said, the rut or the routine.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I couldn't get the word out. Or in other words, the insanity because you're just doing the same thing.
Consistent,
over
yeah.
and over again. Got to go off roading sometimes, even.
We got to come up. You know how I do. You got to come up with something.
Another T-shirt
or banner. At least a banner.
Yep.
We have a Air 127 merch and then
Courage to Converse.
Courage to Converse. I keep telling them all the songs we got to put them on.
Mental merch.
Yeah, mental merch.
Hey, say
mental health merch.
Dubbed. Trademark.
Yeah.
Chuck, the new one we put up there was what is it?
CDs.
What's that? All the songs of the
CDs.
CDs.
The worm.
Yeah, don't be the worm.
Yep.
Chuck was explaining it. Like all of us, we're the worm, right? Or we're the apple. Sorry. No.
Don't be the worm.
We're gonna reverse that. We're the apple.
All calls is the apple, and we're all the worms fucking it up.
Sorry, I'm all red. I feel embarrassed now. Let's cut that out. We're
We
the
are
apple. We're the apple. We don't want to be the worm, right? So we created this picture of a crepey hand pulling out the badass worm from the apple because the worm is killing the apple, right? We don't want bad juju. We don't want bad vibes. We don't want worms within our apple, right? So we pick the bad apple or the bad worms, and so we don't create a bad apple. You know what I mean? So that's another one. We got to come up with something with that. The rut,
Get out of the
new
rut.
path.
Time to go off road.
Get out of the rut. Take the new path. Well, there is a quote, something like that. Don't go on the.
Don't follow the.
Don't follow the path. We have a picture of it here. It's like don't take a path that everybody else has gone. Go another way and create your own trail or something like that. You know. But I've always loved the analogies. I've always loved the quotes and the cliches and all that because they have a lot of meaning behind them. You know, but it's a mindset. We like all these things play into a common thing. You know,
it's just like in the.
It is our mindset.
It's just like in the house. The cats are driving Joe crazy. Curiosity killed the cat, and I'm curiosity. And then I remind him, the whole phrase is curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. So you
they are satisfying.
Yeah.
They are satisfying.
They're entertaining as shit.
Yeah, especially when they start chasing each other
and running into cabinetry and because they can't stop.
You didn't see that, did you?
No, because I was sitting on the opposite side, and y'all are literally watching it. Boom! But I heard him hit it.
We were eating. It was last night, wasn't it? Or night before?
Yeah.
So we're sitting at the dining room down there, and we hear something, and we're looking, and Dave is just flying, and he can't stop. He's like, and he slams into the cabinet. Well, he puts his feet up and slams into the cabinet and then runs away. We're like, ah, dang, like a cartoon. You know? But so people get stuck in the self-doubt, you know, because it's a pattern, you know, and they do feel that they can't get out, so they don't try. You know what I mean? They don't take that new path, you know.
And they might not be surrounded by, just like what Dakota was just talking about, you know, beforehand, before coming out here, he didn't have that circle of people to pull him out when he was stuck in the mud.
Or maybe he did, it just wasn't as strong.
Well, yeah, because the Jeep wasn't strong enough to pull it out, or the truck. We are. Because there's more of us.
I told him, I hope we're not too forceful. You know, like I could see if somebody in in a bad situation, you know, because I know when I was in a really bad, if someone kept coming at me, it would make me shut down even more. But it was a mindset. Like all of this has to deal with how you think about things, no matter what.
Just know that everything that we do is for the greater good.
Yeah.
It's sincere.
It's not to annoy you or to overwhelm you. It's, you know,
or anybody.
Care and want.
We do the same with everybody.
Oh yeah, with everybody.
But even our kids that come out here.
Yeah, I'm not trying to just be isolative.
Yeah, the kids that come out here, you know, we hold them accountable too, just as much. And our kids, you know, Delaney, I had a conversation with her, like she was, Aaron was out there cussing and stuff like that, you know, and she's like, "Hey, Aaron, stop!" And I was like, "Yeah, I know y'all cuss." And she's like, "Yeah, but there's adults here. He should not be cussing around you." I'm like, that's very mature. Like you should be able to do those things, you know, hold each other accountable. If you can learn it now, life in the future would be so much easier. People make fun of you and all that. They're going to make fun of you no matter what.
That's right.
And we were telling LA this, like you could be the number one makeup artist in the world. You're still going to have your fucking haters.
Yeah.
They're going to say it looks like shit.
Yep.
It doesn't look real. There's too much. It's not enough. They're going to have it, you know? Yes. You know?
Or you don't tell the joke the right way. That's not how the joke goes. Okay, excuse me. That's the way I heard it.
What do you call? Never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not going there. Cheeto chicken fucker.
Yeah.
So we talked about this one. How can we encourage others to stop limiting themselves? having the conversations.
That's
It's
what
just
it is.
a lot of times it's simply doing that. You know what I mean? And being
Making
there,
yourself available.
Mhm.
Yep.
showing them the other path.
Showing up. Yep.
So right now we're pretty much at the closing of this here. This week, identify an area where you may have been holding yourself back. You know what I mean? This is the call to action. This is what we're doing. Challenge that thought and rewrite it. This is the self-awareness. Lay all that stuff out, right? Try to set a goal. You know, what is a goal that you want to achieve? Mine is going to be the mask. I'm going to sculpt a mask. You know, not this week, but that is my goal. My goal before we get to the haunt season, I will make a mask, and hopefully somebody will choose to wear it. I asked Chuck if I can do Barthos, so I'm going to get all those ideas and try to do Barthos and sculpt it, make it, and wearable. That's my goal.
I'm telling you, stitch those two masks together and make a mask molded out
No.
of that.
No, I want to. Well, I am going to do Smiley. I'm gonna. I took that one. I'm going to encapsulate it, and I'm gonna. Do it. I didn't take one of the ones that was in your little pattern, and didn't mess up your
No.
little OCD-ness.
He was sitting right there.
Yeah.
I told you to take the one on the other side.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what he did.
So
There'll be more to come this season.
So I already said this. Rewrite that. You know, take something, take a step, do something. Right. All of these things that we talk about constantly, take a conscious effort to do it.
And
You have
action.
to. Yes, just do it. No, I'm not taking Nikes.
I was just about to say, you're getting paid for that.
And this was the thing.
Not sponsored.
We did not get permission to use that. Like we talked about earlier, planning and every little step and all that. You don't need to see the whole path.
Mm-mm.
You just need to see the next step. You know, baby steps: crawl, walk, run. That's what I'm going to challenge everybody to do. Come up with something, set that goal, and goals have to be achievable, right? To be a real goal. You probably do this at Zaxby, right? You set goals and all that shit, and it's got to be a SMART goal. You know, all that stuff. So you got to set the goal. What is it? Is it achievable? And you have to put a timeline, right? Just like when we're doing this stuff, we have to set a date, and we're working towards that. We're going to set a date and we're going to do it. Whether it's successful or not, we're going to do it. You know what I mean? That's moving forward. Just do it. So, again, my goal: the mask by Halloween. There will be at least one mask that is sculpted, molded, casted, worn by Halloween, and painted. So I challenge everybody to do that. I don't know who's all watching, but that's my goal. Do you guys have any goals? You're gonna set them afterwards. It's a challenge.
Mm. I want to stay committed to my health plan. That's my goal because I have to focus on that. I mean, as far as the haunt stuff and everything like that, I got that shit on lock.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to get the energy back to be able to do more like I was before. But it starts with that.
Right.
And I'm committed to it.
Yep. You are.
One step at a time.
Talked a lot about that this week. Takes effort in many directions.
Mm.
So
Sadly, sometimes. Look at insurance companies.
Mine will be related, more well and personal a little bit, but put myself in a better position so I am able to do more as Smiley. But even if I don't do as Smiley, work and have fun and create the skits I love doing, even if it's not Smiley. I would love to do just Smiley, but hashtag Smiley's expensive, but it looks fucking phenomenal. You know, maybe develop a couple of other OCs, get them fully that aren't
involved.
yeah,
Throwing a mask.
Yeah. And just create those fun little skits to do out here and have fun. What I really love doing in the haunt community.
Right.
And working with the team. So that's my goal.
We're gonna do it.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna make it happen. So the closing statement is, you are more capable of what you believe. Your story isn't written by fear, failure, or the past. It's authored by the choices you make. We all make right now. Write something bold. I think we all just did a little bit, right? I want to thank everyone for joining. Open conversations, right? We got to do this with everybody, because if you got a problem with me, you don't tell me, I don't know. I don't know what to change, right? Vice versa. It goes all around. It's a bidirectional conduit there. I always call it the dirt, so we're going to discuss, reflect, and transform, right? That's what all this is meant to do. It's not just talking. It's about taking what we did, lessons learned, move on it, action on it, and do something with it. The final reflection of courage is sometimes the biggest wall is invisible, built from our own doubt, our own fear, and our old stories, right? Just because it was
Oh, the
doesn't mean it's
past.
going to
Yeah.
be. So you have the power to tear it down, to change it. So let's do it. One choice at a time, you can live, love, and achieve without limits. You are your own limiting factor most of the time. So, anything else before we sign off tonight? Thanks for
Don't get
joining.
stuck in the rut.
Thanks for anybody who joined during this and watches afterwards. Again, every episode has a song. I would love everybody to listen to it and provide some feedback as well. Have a good night.
Thank you for joining us here on Courage to Converse. Our intention is to discuss tough topics, reflect on personal experiences, and explore paths for growth and understanding. I want to acknowledge that some of these conversations may have touched on sensitive or challenging issues. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for professional advice or support. If you or someone you know is struggling, resources are available to help. In the U.S., you can call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, or text HOME to 741741 to reach the crisis text line. Remember, our goal here is to spark meaningful conversations while fostering respect, understanding, and personal growth. See you next time.
Woke up with the weight again, the voice that says you'll never win. Dreams on hold, fears on play, and doubts that never fade away. Tried to run but tied my feet, told myself I'd face defeat, but something in me starts to rise. It's time to kill the compromise. No more limits, no more lies, no more standing on the sidelines. Tear the tape across my mind, time to leave the fear behind. Gonna live it, love it, reach the sky. This life is mine to redefine. No more limits, just the fire, just the climb. Every scar has shaped this soul, every no has taken toll, but cracks let all the light break through. The truth is I already knew. It's not the world that's holding tight, it's the cage I built from silent nights. Today I step, today I stand, today I break what I began. No more limits, no more lies, no more standing on the sidelines. Tear the tape across my mind, time to leave the fear behind. Gonna live it, love it, reach the sky. This life is mine to redefine. No more limits, just the fire, just the climb. Who said that I'm not strong enough? Who said that dreams were made up stuff? I am the storm, I am the spark. I'm finding light inside the dark. No more limits, break the chains. No more running from the pain. Live limitless, love unchained. Every scar's made me brave. Gonna write a brand new line. With every breath I'll realign. No more limits, this is my time. Woke up with the weight again, the voice that says you'll never win. Dreams on hold, the voice that says you'll never win.